It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
Good morning, and you are waking up with Wesley to a beautiful Friday and weekend. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams, and we're expecting nice dry weather to continue, which is great for outdoor activities. But like we mentioned in yesterday's episode, a drought is developing, and so this is going to be something that we watch for some increasing impacts drought-wise into the next few days. But let me take you out to the beach camera. Is a live view of the Biloxi beachfront, courtesy of our WLOX cam at the Beau Rivage. And yeah, it looks like a great spot to be, especially this morning with it feeling nice and comfortable. We've got temperatures into the 70s, and you can see that most of the numbers at this moment in time during the 8 o'clock hour have risen into the 70s. So it's a pretty nice start to the day. But we are expecting it to heat up this afternoon. Temperatures will get into the lower 90s later on, and there might actually be a few isolated showers and storms in some spots. So don't be caught off guard if you see some rain. We can take a look at the futurecast, and you'll notice that there's not much rain at all this morning. But as we go into Friday afternoon and Friday evening, there could be a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Look at the map for Friday afternoon. You'll begin to see maybe 1 or 2 dots of green there on the map. Some of those dots might actually turn a little yellow at some spots heading into Friday evening. Like look at those near Mobile. So we'll have to keep an eye on maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two at times on Friday afternoon and Friday evening. I want to put that in perspective for you. Do you mind if we take just a little moment and look at the past? Is that okay? So let's take a look at yesterday. And this will help you to understand why the weather is doing what it is doing today. We can show you real information instead of just looking at a computer model. So this is the actual satellite and first alert radar from yesterday showing what the weather actually did, and the pattern that was in place yesterday did not really change. There's generally a large area of high pressure located across this part of the map. We know that the air around a high pressure goes clockwise, so that's why the activity you see on the radar is actually driving down toward the south across parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and even Arkansas. So you'll watch this area of showers and storms. Actually, it was a little weak impulse, weak upper system that kicked up some showers, and they rolled in from the north. So actually, one of them put out some gusty thunderstorm winds in northeast Louisiana. And overnight, there was this one persistent lone wolf storm that developed over northwest Alabama, and it persisted all morning long as it dove toward the south, eventually crossing Interstate 20 between Meridian and Montgomery. Now, there's a look at the current first alert radar and satellite, and you still don't see anything, but there's just kind of these little bitty dots that might try to roll in from the north today. And so that's what you basically saw when you saw the futurecast. We'll go back to a more zoomed out version of the futurecast, and you'll notice that as this goes into motion, you'll kind of see some of these, like look at them developing a little bit to our north and then rolling down toward the coast. You can see how they roll down toward the coast like that. So the same type of pattern that we just saw over the last 24 hours is still here today. So hopefully you didn't mind that little brief look into the past, but we'll keep it more forecast focused now and talk about our weather headlines. I'm predicting this drought to get worse because this pattern with dry high pressure in place is going to persist for the next week. This means that your lawn's going to get a little crispy and crunchy. Your garden might need to get an extra drink or two, and Mother Nature won't be helping out in that regard. So you're going to have to get out in the yard and get out in the garden and do that watering so that everything tries to stay as green as it can. You know, in the month of September, we typically rely on tropical systems to bring us rain. As you go from September to October, we typically see drier air, drier weather. And if we don't have those tropical systems around the Gulf Coast, yeah, it basically can make it pretty easy for a drought to develop. But on the flip side, okay, yeah, it's bad that there's a drought. However, the weather looks so beautiful. I know that we've got so many outdoor activities, festivities, events for you to partake in for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. And you might even find some of those on our website, gulfcoastweekend.com. But the weather looks really nice. And I think it will be kind of comfortable. You know it's comfortable in the morning. But even in the afternoon, when we're forecasting 90s, September 90s hit different than July 90s. Look at this. We have a heat index today of 93 degrees. So heat index in the lower 90s, which is pretty close to the actual high temperature forecast in the lower 90s. A couple of months ago, we had highs in the upper 90s and the heat index was over 113 degrees. So that's the big difference. That's why, even though you look at this, you're seeing more 90s at times, it really doesn't feel as hot as you would expect. September 90s are not the same as July 90s in South Mississippi. So that's something to look forward to in your 7-day forecast. Even though the mornings are comfortable, yes, the afternoons can find 90s, but those 90s are not overwhelmingly hot. And that's why you don't expect to see that type of heat in the month of September. We just don't have the same type of heat. We don't have the same type of mugginess right now that we had a couple of months ago. So that's the main difference there. So I hope that you make plans to get out and enjoy this weekend. Wonderful weather in the area this weekend. And we'll continue to see this dry weather trend into next week and for an extended period of time too. Well, that'll do it for today's edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Have a good
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.